Hello?
You go to me.
No.
Oh, who you calling? Oh,
We can hear you, Mark.
Second.
She answered, but gave me no response. Okay, the call be in order.
okay.
It's not in the ditch or something. Hello, Mason.
I know.
All right, I call the work session to order. We have a shared vision in the Fern Ridge School District to provide excellence for every student so that each will reach their greatest potential. Thank you for the members of the public who have joined us. As a reminder, school board meetings and work sessions are meetings of the board held in public, providing an opportunity to observe the board's discussion and actions. In an effort to conduct the official board business, we ask that audience be respectful and refrain from questions, comments, and unnecessary noise while the board conducts the meeting. Also, please note that all board meetings are live streamed, posted on the school board area of the website. First up, OSB elections, official ballots. Did everybody happen to look through the ballots?
Yes. I provided on the top sheet there, language to help you guys make a motion. But you would like to support. That was great, thank you.
Is there a motion? Hold on. Two for OSB Legislative Policy Committee. I think I'm supposed to say, entertain. Does anybody have a motion to support a candidate?
Support individual.
Yeah, that's one.
Just one, and it's for the Legislative Policy Committee between the two, Judy Newman and Archer's last name. Adrian.
I will make a motion. I move that the Fern Ridge School Board support Adrian Pollitt for the OSBA Legislative Policy Committee, position number 6.
Anybody second? Hearing no second. That's not in my script. Hearing no seconds. Motion fails. Motion fails.
Okay.
If there are no other motions, then you can go on to the next position.
I'll make a motion for Judy Newman. Excuse me, yeah, Judy Newman, that's correct.
I'll second it. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Do I have to anyway? You can abstain if you want. Sure. Or motion passes 2-1. You have to have 3, right?
Yeah.
So motion.
I don't know that exactly. I assumed, I mean, if you have one person vote yes and 4 abstain, I assume it, so I can look into that tomorrow.
Your verbiage in email said 3, which is why I was thinking 3.
That's what I
I thought we had to have the
Because
credit.
Yeah, it's got, it has to be.
No, but you might be right, so let me double check. So I guess the way I leave it is, I'll look into that answer. If it's, if 2-1-1 passes, then will, if it doesn't.
As far as I know, abstention does not count. Or a no.
No, it's just, but we got another board member here, so maybe that'll solve the issue.
Okay.
We don't want to start over though.
Excuse me.
Yeah, leave it up to you what you do.
let's just. Okay. I'm not married to the, anyways, yeah, we'll go on.
I'll look for that tomorrow.
Yeah, look. Okay, okay, OSB Board of Directors. I'll start out. I'll make a motion to give our support to Nicole DeGraff.
I will second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Done. Yes. All right, next on the list is the board stipends for the work session. We got obviously the email feedback closed. We got, what was it? I printed it, we got like 10 responses. I think, all of them are pretty much exactly what we expected them to be. I thought a few of them were, I mean, what I expected, but kind of misinformed about what the whole thing's about. So less than useful, but we got them.
felt a little no win.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
asked for feedback and then
yeah. I just wish people that gave the feedback actually did a little more research on what it actually was instead of just going off of some Facebook local posts we had.
and as to why we were doing it.
And as to why we're doing it, or if we were doing it, or whatever, so. Try to be part of the solution instead of the problem, but anyways, I guess we should discuss it, we need to either just put it away or not. I'll start, I mean. I have mixed feelings about the whole thing, top to bottom, to be honest with you, but the bottom line for me in our school district, especially with the upcoming cuts and everything. I think it'd be inappropriate, or I would turn it down anyways, even if we passed it.
Correct.
So, if everybody kind of feels that way, I don't think we bother. Keep pushing forward with. Figuring out how you're supposed to do it.
I would like to make a motion to squash it.
We'll do that in the regular.
Do it in the
We're in the
regular.
regular,
meeting.
sorry, gotcha.
This is just where we talk about it,
Talk about it, okay.
yeah.
So, my take on it is, I still love the formatting. I like the style that they brought that in, as far as, us having to first approve it, and then school board members can take it on their own, and then we have to approve those school board members. So I like that. I like the whole setup. I am not, whatever, with the little bit of response that we got back from the survey. I love the response that we got back from the survey from the teachers, from the staff, from a different one, but not for the public. It was just, but then again, we haven't had that many surveys where they even expect it. Do you see what I mean? So it's like putting our feet into the water, so I'm not too crazy upset about just getting 10, 12. I think I only saw 8, but 10, 12 responses. I'm not. But yeah, especially after going to the conference, I still like the process. I still like everything about it. I think it's the wrong thing at the wrong time. That's how I feel.
I wish, I mean, if the state thinks that it's gonna, bring diversity to school boards, and that's what they believe, I wish they would fund it.
Mhm.
Instead of just passing it down and saying y'all ought to look towards, I feel like the state does that. I've seen that repeatedly. The state says, well, you shall do this, but we're gonna not even give you the amount of money we said we're gonna give you. So, yeah, I wish if they really think that it works, then I wish they'd have funded it, but I guess we'll see what happens. I think the only school district to do it in Oregon is Portland so far. They were pretty proud of it at the school board or at the conference. They tried to brag about it in one session. Room kind of went silent.
What was interesting about that is they were excited about
Yeah.
that in Portland. And, you know, I don't know the time frame of the conference, but I'm hearing this as I'm hearing things like, you know, we're pretty much in trouble until pretty much in trouble financially till 2030. So to me, it was just, wait a minute, guys,
Yeah.
you know, I like this. I like it for so many reasons. Not now.
I think it has pros and cons, obviously, that you can make either way. I don't know if I like it or dislike it. I mean, I'm good with it either way, but my feeling has always been just to clarify, because I've been misread, and what I'm saying is my stance on it is if you pay one person, everybody gets paid. Like, but, so, like, and I don't mean throughout the state of Portland wants to do it. I just mean within our board, like, if somebody was to come on and we thought, oh, we want to pay these people so that somebody can afford to do it. I don't think it's anybody's right to tell one person, well, you can be reimbursed for your time, but you shouldn't. And that's my only feeling on it.
When it comes to things like that, though, excuse me, Carrie, don't we have money in the budget? If we had a school board member and they needed money for daycare or something like that, do we have that money, or did we have that money, I should say?
No, we reimburse for hard costs, or so like ink toner if you're printing on your computer at home, or paper, or mileage, or conference fees. There's no process for paying a stipend to someone.
Okay. And again, I would not even agree with that with the situation that we're going into. So.
Yeah, we're going into some tough times. So from what I hear, you're gonna be you're saying not to move forward.
Let's check with Mark.
Yeah, Mark, you got something to say?
Yeah, I think we give it a good shot. I think the whole equity thing's often weaponized, but you know, they wanted to see us discuss it. We discussed it. I personally don't care. It was there for the future for other people, but given the amount of people who are saying, you know, there's no need. We discussed how much of an impact it would have on the budget. That was one of my concerns. I was open to voting it through, but I personally wasn't going to take it. So if we drop it tonight, that's fine with me as well.
And I just remind the board, this doesn't mean it's dead for the next 50 years. In a year, or a different board in 4 years, 8 years wants to bring it up again, it's in law, and I change their mind, so.
Exactly.
One of my questions was even from the very beginning, because pardon my ignorance, but if the state changed the policy, then we don't have to change it. Because early on, when I first saw it, I thought we had to change our policy and then vote not to take the money. That's how I understood how it's supposed to go down. Because right now our policy won't match the state's policy. But,
Which is fine.
yeah. Well, let me say.
Unless we decided to approve it, then we would have to change policy.
As long as nobody cares, there's no repercussions for doing that, then it's fine with me. All right, sounds like we're all on the same page. Oh.
You're up, bud. Okay, no slide show. This is meant to just be an introduction. I mean, I think if the board, if we go through this slide deck and the board has, what's this right term? Strong feelings one way or another, certainly state them now, but certainly don't expect a decision tonight. I would think if we, as I mentioned to you, if we wanted to go down this route, if it went past the January meeting, we would be in a struggle. Not that it couldn't be done, but I think any further past that starts to make it a little bit too big of a problem to solve. To be ready to go in August of 2026. So again, this is just kind of an introduction. I don't think, well, I know not the current school board members have probably been a part of these discussions in the past. Last 15 years, like I mentioned, we've had this a couple times, but so this is just kind of an intro. Click to the next slide. I forget what the various slides are. Yeah, so we've investigated this twice in the last 15 years. Neither time by investigating them, we had an internal district committee that met, that were large groups. The last time we did it, we did site visits to some districts that had done this, really looked into it. Following those committee meetings and work that the folks did, we never came to a point where we were making some recommendation to a board. I think that was kind of for a couple of reasons. One, very low staff buy-in, and two, it was really more programmatic change. I didn't at that time feel like there was a strong need that we, this is really something we got to consider. So that's a little bit of the history on this topic. Let's see. What we've done so far. Committee was formed with administrators. Well, let me start out with first. I met with Ms. Klingsborn, our special services director, Ms. Marshall, K-12 person, and our two elementary folks, two principals, and said, here's the deal. This was in August, probably, maybe September. Thinking about looking into this, here's the reasons why. But if you four aren't all on board with this, then it's not something I'm gonna push. They were all four on board with looking into this. So we developed a committee. There was those four administrators, 6 teachers, 2 classroom and a specialist from each elementary school, and a classified person from each elementary school. I also invited both associations to have a rep there at our meetings. We had conversations. I kind of came to the meeting with the pros cons list I had created. I took input from them. They came up with some pros and cons that I hadn't thought of that I bought into. I also came up with some that I didn't really buy into. So just know that when I go through the pros cons list, it's Gary's pros cons list that would look different than Lisa's or Bree's or Kelly's or Jennifer's or whoever. This is my thought. Certainly I took input from a lot of folks and used that input to create it. But I would definitely characterize this as my, my list with other folks' inputs. So we met twice. Then I set up a meeting to go visit the elementary school. They all came together, both schools, at Benita one afternoon. It was probably a 45-minute-ish or so meeting, lots of questions. Shared kind of some of what I'm going to share here today, kind of the history, some of the reasons why I think we should look into this, talk about what would be hard about this if we did it, talk about the ways it could potentially help us if we did it. Then I did the same thing with the middle school and the high school. And after those meetings, I gave them a link to a survey to go take. The survey was very short, basically said, what level do you teach at or what building? Are you a teacher or a classified member? And gave them 4 choices. I think this is the greatest idea ever to this is the worst idea ever, or kind of 2 in between. So that's what we've done so far. One of the primary reasons I believe that this is going to become more of an issue, whether the school board wants to go down this path now, which would be a hard path to go down. I think in the years to come, this conversation is going to come up again. One of the primary reasons why is our enrollment. You can see that 3 short years ago, in the fall of 22, our elementary enrollment was as high as it's been in the last 10, 12 years. Actually, that's 12 years of time. I have 2 years not in there, the 2 COVID years when, we were remote and all kinds of craziness. So that year we had 643, and this year we're at 569, and next year I expect this to be at 542. That is total number of K through 5 kids in our school district.
How do you plan for that, if you don't mind me asking?
Say that again?
How do you forecast?
So yeah, first of all, it's a guess. So
Okay.
the numbers I use are, we have 107 5th graders going out.
Okay.
Our last year, 3-year averages of kindergartners coming in was 80. So if I
Okay.
anticipate 80, which is this year was only 75, But last year it was 85 and the year before that it was 80. So our average last 3 years is 80 kids. I anticipate we're gonna meet that 3-year average of 80, could be less. If we get 90 kids, could be more.
Okay,
We have 107 fifth graders going now.
thank you.
So can you make that sucker bigger?
Is there a big discrepancy between Elmira Elementary and Benita Elementary?
100 kids.
Gotcha. And it stays like that year over year typically?
Yeah.
Elmira smaller, I'm guessing.
And I use 100 loosely.
Yeah.
It might not be exactly 100.
100 total K through 5?
Yeah, it's probably a little, they have 14 teachers, Elmira's 10. I'm pretty sure that's the right number. Well, it shows us right there. On this page, let's see, we have, so 14 and 10. There's your class sizes. What it shows in the items that aren't bolded, so the left hand of the screen is Benita Elementary. If we look at that, those are the 14 teachers' names, and that's their class sizes. They range from 20 to 30. If we were in a K2, well, let's look at Elmira on the right-hand side of the page. Those unbolded numbers are their class sizes. They range from a high of 28 in kinder, it looks like, to a low of 20 in first grade. And I could go back to Benita side, in a blended model, those would be our class sizes. The range would be 3 kids instead of 10. Both the kindergarten, or all the kindergarten classes would be 20, 19, 19. Our first grade would be 22, 21, 21. All of our second grade would have 20 kids. If this year, right now, with those kids, that's what it would look like. Our K2 model would have 12 teachers, and those would be their class sizes. You go over to 3-5 side, they would also have 12 teachers, and those would be their class sizes. The thing you'll note, number one, there's no blends like we currently have. We currently have a blend at each school. Blends are hard. Blends cost us more money. This year it helps support our kindergarten teacher at Elmira. We hired an aide because 28 kindergartners is a heck of a lot of kindergartners. We could have made that class smaller, but then what it would have looked like is we'd have had a couple K1 blends, and that makes it much more difficult to have kids, in school for the first time with other kids that have been there a year. So we went this route instead and had a larger kindergarten class. So again, you can see the bold numbers. The third graders classrooms would be 3 at 24, 1 at 25. Fourth grade rooms would all be at 28. Fifth grades would be at 27 and 26. And then Lisa had asked, I think in one of my emails too, I said, I'm gonna have this data for 10 years. I had done that several weeks ago in the planning processes. So I sent you that Excel spreadsheet. All the tabs are at the bottom. You could click on what it would look like in 16, 17, 19, 19, 20 for all the various years. And what I can tell you is that the class sizes are always balanced. There is no blends, and there's very little teacher movement. So one concern around this model is, well, some years you're gonna have to shift the teacher from one building to the other. I looked at the last 10, really it's the last 12 years, because I'm not counting 2 in there. There would have been 1 year we'd had to move a teacher. And in that same time, we've had to move a teacher 1 year in this model when somebody shows up. When numbers show up a little odd in September, August. There's been a time in the last 12 years where in August I had to contact the Elmira teacher and move them to Benita very last minute. So that's how that data looks on that Excel spreadsheet I showed you. You could look at that for back 12 years ago. Okay, next page.
May I ask a question? So am I understanding that in this school district, there's not a very positive reflection on the blended classes? Is that fair to say?
Well, I think certainly if you ask a teacher, if Gary was a teacher and said, okay, Gary, you can have just second grade or second and third grade. I just want second grade. I mean, Miss Pizzola could probably speak to it as well. It's a lot harder on teachers. 20, 30 years ago, I think it was much easier, but now there's such aligned, strict content standards for each grade level. You have a 2-3 blend. I got half my test kids. I'm trying to focus on getting prepared for state testing. The second graders are on a totally different curriculum. So it's challenging, sure. And not only just the academic piece, but the social piece. The first grader is much different than a kindergartner, is much different from a second grader. So I don't know if positive outlook is right, but it's much more difficult to teach blended classroom than it is every student in one grade, where all the curriculum is the same.
And the reconfiguration would be blended regardless. Like if it went K2 to 3-5. Blended or no, so, gotcha.
It's much easier to balance class sizes that way, teachers.
There would have been no blends this year. I mean, who
Yeah,
knows?
there have been no blends in the last 12 years. Yeah. I mean, I can't say forever, like, say we went to this model, could there be a year in 10, 12, 14 years where we have to have a blend based on the, I suppose. But I can tell you, the trend we're going with enrollment, blends are going up. Next year, I would expect more than one blend at each school, possibly even two at each school.
The only reason I asked is because I know that like my kid's in first grade and I know they're doing like some blended group stuff with kindergarten and first and second stuff together. So I don't know if it's just like.
So there is times, Miss Marshall was here, she could tell you the right term, but where they'll, a team will get together. And that's one of the pros of this, of a K-2-3-5 model. If I have all 4 second grade classrooms in one building, right? I got 100 kids of 25, let's say. We can have breakout times where they're all structured. Gary's taking the tag kids that really need channels. Kathleen's taking the lowest kids that really need some extra support. So teachers do collaborate in that way. Probably in the buildings that we're in now, there's just, there'd be more opportunity in K-2-3-5, I would say.
It's very common, especially like in reading and math.
Yeah.
They're an at level, above level, lower levels. We're trying to meet kids
And
where
that's
they're at.
So survey response data, was about what I expected.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Mark. Oh, Mark.
What is the, if this is to do with, classes getting too big or too unwieldy to manage, well, what's the maximum class size can get to before we have to start hiring more teachers?
Yeah, well, really, again, what I focus on, and you see it in that enrollment report that Quanta gives you every board meeting, is the average class size in the building. That's what I really focus on. And our average class size is low, right? They're 22 or 23. However, when the numbers don't, it's hard to get them to work out evenly in a specific building. So is there a number that, oh my goodness, we hit this, it's a significant problem? No, but I just use my common sense. For example, that classroom at Elmira Elementary this year that has a one of 28, that's too big. That teacher needs some extra help. There is language in the certified contract around what the guidelines are for class sizes. So at every level, K-12, and when we get above those, we need to have a conversation around what that looks like. But even in that Elmira level right now, we're making a decision. We could have blended, I think it was 28 and 20. So there's 48 kids total, I think. We go back and look at that slide real quick. Well, I'll just use an example, whether it's the actual, what's occurring or not. So at Elmira, well, I'll give you this example. Say we had 20, we only had one first grade teacher at Elmira, and we had 20 kids in first grade. We only had one kindergarten teacher and they had 30. Well, we could split them up and do 2 blends and have class sizes of 25. Or we have one of 30 and one of 20 and keep them at the same grade level. It just puts an extra burden on that teacher that has the kids with 30. So when everybody's in one building, it lets us balance them much better within a grade. But there is no hard number other than some contractual language when numbers get too high.
Okay, you think it's not necessarily factor in this decision then to the split?
Oh, for sure, because well, again, I get grumpy teachers calling me in August and emailing me in August complaining about the fact that they have blends and how are we going to offer them support. Well, what I could say is, okay, well, I'm not giving building principals the authority to develop class sizes, I'm telling you. And okay, instead of having a blend this year, we're gonna have a class of 32 and a class of 22. And that isn't what I want to do. That's, I don't know if that answered your question, but.
Yeah, I think so. I wanted to know, if it's going to improve, if the split model is going to improve it or not, or if it's just a matter of.
Yeah, no, definitely going to a K-2-3-5, that Excel spreadsheet I showed you, or sent just yesterday or maybe this morning. I don't know, it's all blended together. That shows you what it all would look like the last 12 years. All the class sizes balanced and 0 blends. And what I'm saying is due to our enrollment going down, which again, I'll get to in a minute on why that is, I believe, and it's common occurrence around the country and especially in Oregon, we're gonna have more blends. We have a blend at each school this year. I would anticipate multiple blends at both schools next year. And over time, as that continues to occur, you know, staff, there isn't, especially at the elementary level in particular, a lot of support for this. I think over time, support will grow, as blends continue to grow. Did you have a question, Lisa?
I do. So one of the things I wanted to ask is with the blended classes, if you have a 1-2 split, how are they figuring out who is going to go in to the? So you have a
Conversation with the teachers. We used to, when I was an elementary principal at Veneta, we used to meet and identify, let's say we're doing a 1-2 split, the highest first graders, and put them in with that second grade class.
Well, with the second grade class or with the lower second grade?
Well, again, it depends. We don't, the second, let's say we had only one second grade class, then we're just probably putting the highest first graders out there. I think now it's really more about, the focus isn't on that as much. It's a conversation with the teacher. It's a conversation with the principal. They sit down and try to develop an even split more around the number of kids on IEPs, the number of behavior issues, and try to get balanced that way. Not so much about, okay, let's get, you know, for a lot, probably an inappropriate term, let's get all the smart kids with Gary and all the kids that are struggling with WC. That isn't what we do. It's more of trying to balance of student needs amongst the class. But so it's not something as the superintendent I get involved in. I put it on the principal and the teachers. You guys need to come up with the best way that you think would be the best students. Sometimes it helps with relatives, right? Oh, my sister's in that class. And mom says, do not put Tommy with his sister all day. Or his cousin's in there. Oh, that'd be great if he moved on with his cousins. So there's a lot of things that go into, I think. They do definitely spend some time and energy on making sure that it's gonna work.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so survey response data. The graph on the top left is all staff, all buildings, pretty evenly balanced. From I'm opposed to this, the bright orange or red, to I have reservations, the orange, to I understand the need, to I'm totally on board, green. You can see on the right how it kind of splits up between K-5 and 6-12. K-5, much more negative thoughts around this idea. High school, middle school, much more positive thoughts. Okay. Certified versus classified, I thought was interesting to me too. Classified members, definitely much more negative to the idea. Certified classroom teachers, definitely much more positive to the idea.
Is there any option for them to leave comments in any of these?
No.
Okay.
On certified versus classified K-5, kind of same thing. Yep, certainly not in support of it. Classified, in fact, anybody that took the survey class from the classified side, there was 0 people fully on board with it. On the teacher side, there was that number 10, 12? You read that on there?
Bottom right.
Bottom left, green,
Oh,
Which
13.
one are you on?
13.
13.
So,
oh, I'm sorry.
anyways, it just kind of shows that it equated there too. On the middle school and high school side, the lower right, pretty evenly balanced. But also kind of carried out that the classified were a little less supportive of it certified.
It is not, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, it doesn't affect them,
Correct.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're kind of getting an opinion of something that's gonna come to them later, so they're looking at the pros and cons of them coming in.
And there's an argument to be made on both sides of that. It definitely doesn't affect them at all. So all they're really thinking about is this gonna benefit the student?
Yeah.
And the elementary side, certainly I wouldn't say they're only thinking about themselves. They have strong opinions that they doubt that they're not sure, or maybe even doubt is the right word, that this is beneficial for students. But I believe they're also sharing, this is disruptive to me.
Yeah.
I think the middle and high school can be invested in terms of the level that their students come in at.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm not trying to say that at all. I mean, I even have an opinion, you know, over the years. Yes, keep going.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
All right, next page. Why do I think that we should investigate this again? Again, continue the enrollment decline, particularly at the elementary level. currently the smallest three grade band. So I mean, if I took any 3-year period within our district, K1, 2, 9, 10, 11, 5, 6, 7, the smallest is K1, 2. That tells me our district enrollment is going to be dropping. And not only is that, is it the lowest, but traditionally, if we go back 20 years, that's the highest. Right? If we looked at our K1, 2 numbers or 1, 2, 3 numbers in particular in the 90s, in the early 2000s, that's our highest grade band. They start to choose other options as they get to middle school and high school, and our lowest grade band would be 10, 11, 12. So the fact that it's not just kind of come to the middle, but it's our lowest 3 grade levels tells me there's significant change in the horizon. It's not just a Fern Ridge issue. The reasons for lower public school enrollment is threefold. Again, this is just my thoughts. Number one, there's certainly more options for families. You go back 2019 before COVID, I bet there's 50 more online schools in the state of Oregon. Not to mention more families choosing homeschooling. So there's just way more options. The other 2 reasons, nationally, birth rates and fertility rates are low. And not only are they low nationally, but Oregon ranks 47th out of all 50 states. Not as many people having kids in Oregon. The last one just kind of gives the definition of those 2 terms, birth rates and fertility rates. Okay, next page.
One more, please.
Sure.
Okay, so has anybody, because I keep hearing, especially even at the conference, about low enrollment, future enrollment, reasons why, stuff like this, and yes, more options for families, all these reasons are good reasons, stuff like that, but has anybody actually looked to see why kids are not coming to this school district?
Fern Ridge in particular?
Well, yeah, because that's what but I mean, yes.
I think it's all, it's an enrollment number.
I think the reason I don't think there's any specific reason to Fern Ridge. We have many kids transfer out. We have many kids transfer in from other school districts. I think our enrollment's going down because there's more options and there's not as many kids being born. And the fact that we had 75 kindergartners show up this year, there isn't 30 kindergartners out there choosing to do some other path. There's just not 30 kindergartners out there.
When I'm talking to people in the community though, they don't want to be homeschooling. They wait. They would love to be in the public school,
Okay.
but they're choosing not to because of what is happening in the public school. So my question would always be, has anybody looked to see what is happening in the public school that people are going other places versus to our free public?
I just focus on the kids that are here and the homeschool piece. I don't talk to homeschool parents like that. What I hear from homeschool parents is not, we want to be there. It's, we want to homeschool. So it's just that's just my perspective. Could I imagine that there's certainly homeschool families out there that wish something was different and they could send their kids to homeschool? I'm sure there are. Do you know how many homeschool students we have in our district?
I don't.
I'll send the board the number tomorrow. I have the number. It's far fewer than you think.
Okay.
But I can't remember off the top of my head, but I did look into that early this year. We get an updated list every August. To be legally enrolled in the school in Oregon, you have to register through the ESD, right? I can't just say I'm homeschooling my kid and he works on the farm for me. I got to register at the ESD, let them know what curriculum they're in. I'll send the board our number of homeschool kids by grade. We remind you.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, let's see. Reasons to investigate, again, smaller enrollments, I think are gonna necessitate more blends in the future. We should expect it to continue as our 5th grade class is currently at 107. It's kind of to Kathleen's question. If our kindergarten class in the fall 26 is at a 3-year average of 80, then we'll expect to have 27 less students K5 and 25-26. This year's kinder class was 75. Second reason, significant reduction in Title I funding, somewhere between 33 and 50%. Title I, about 2/3 of the state has a Title I school in their district. So Title I can go to dollars, go to help early literacy, kids that are struggling in reading and math. Back 20 years ago in our district, when we got a lot more money, we were spending that money K-8. So there was title programs at the middle school. meaning a teacher, maybe an aide, to help support kids in their reading and math. Then we went through a period of time of, okay, the money's getting so low, we want to really just focus the elementary school on these kids that are struggling. So that's where we focused. Then there was a period of time where, you know what, we're just to heck with math. We're going to use these dollars to just focus on reading. It's most important that our K1, 2 kids are reading. That's what we focus on. Then math scores kind of dropped a little bit. So we went back to, okay, we're going to take the dollars we have. It's still going to stay at elementary, but it's going to be for math and reading. I want to say the total amount of money we get is ballpark is around $500,000. It funds all of our aides and 2 teachers, and they're split at both schools. With that reduction, we're going to have a couple models. We're either going to go to no teacher, and let's say we only have $300,000 next year. $300,000 would probably fund about 5.5 aides, depending on their total number of hours, their experience, or a teacher and only a couple aides. That's between both schools. So in a 3-5 model, K2 3-5 model, what we do is we would fund all those Title I resources to the K2 building. If we stay in our current model, we're still going to have Title I. I just buildings need to understand the level of staffing and support they're going to have at their 2 buildings split up evenly. In the best case scenario is going to be 2 to 3 aides at each building, no teacher, or a teacher split between buildings with an aide or 2 at each building, maybe 1 aide at each building. So I won't know the exact number of that. You know, is it going to be cut to 400,000 or 300,000? And obviously that has a huge impact. But at the minimum, I know it's going to be cut 20%. That's kind of the floor.
Is the number of enrolled kids dropping evenly between the schools, or is the bubble and discrepancy higher at one school than another?
Well, we can look at, I haven't done that historically, but they've kind of been fairly consistent. Although, again, staying on this trend, what's going to happen? Let's say the school board and the committee goes, you know what, we don't care. We do not want to ever go to K2 3-5. Something's going to have to be done, because definitely Elmira's enrollment within our current boundaries is dropping at a higher rate than Benita. So I'll get you that data, what that looks like. Okay, if we stayed in our current kind of model. If you want to go back to that page real quick, that showed the, yeah.
That one?
Yeah, that should work. So right now you can see at kindergarten and 1st grade, there is 72 kids at Elmira Elementary. In 2 grades, 72 kids. That's only 36 kids a grade. If we multiply that out by 6 grades, that's around 200 kids. And right now they're at what, 240? So if the next 3 incoming grade levels at Elmira Elementary are like they've been the last 2 years, that school's going to be down another 50 kids. So it definitely is dropping at a higher rate at Elmira, I guess is the thing. And what the options to that will be, again, if we're not going to do a K2 3-5 model, will be to change the boundaries. And that'll be challenging as well.
At what point do we close the school?
I don't think we're anywhere near closing a school.
Good answer.
Yeah. I went through that once, and if you think changing K2 3-5 model would be tough, when we closed No Time Central, that was really tough. There was a lot of people, and it's kind of one thing I relate to this is you know, when we closed No Time Central, it was early 2000s, and attended the community forum we had at the middle school. There was probably 200 people in there screaming and yelling at superintendent, school board members. This is the worst idea ever. And I can tell you 10 years down the line in 2010, the best decision they ever made. Right? It kept us financial. We could not just think today if we had 2 other schools in our district with now maybe 50 kids at No Time, 50 kids at Central. Super, super painful. It was the right decision.
Right.
And somebody, you know, school board and the superintendent then made the hard decision. They took a lot of grief. Now we look back 25 years later, that was definitely the right decision. As hard as it was, we were not going to be able to sustain 4 elementary schools in this district. Yeah. Okay.
I don't. This is kind of sort of off topic, but I don't get why OSA is trying to reclassify you guys up, saying enrollment numbers are high for 3A, but we see enrollment numbers trending down.
They only look at for that 9, 10, 11. So when they don't, we could say, hey, coming forward, you know, we got smaller, it's
And
this
that's
block period,
And that's a year by year deal that you have to go through.
3 years. Okay, next slide, I guess we can go to. So I won't go through all these, I'll let you read them. Maybe you've already read them. If you have any questions, let me know. I tried to break them down into 5 areas. Again, these are just various words, certainly with input from others, but this is my list. This area is the academic impacts. If you go to the next slide. Question there.
Yeah, could you please tell me what SLC means?
Sure. It's a learning center for our kids, mostly with low IQ. So an example might be, we have a 2nd grader with Down syndrome. So our current SLC classroom is at Bonita, Bonita Elementary. So whether they live in the Elmira or Bonita boundary area, that's where they go to school, is the SLC classroom at Bonita.
Why, oh, sorry. Daisy.
Good.
Why do you say the pro would be delivery of ELD services? What would make that?
Sure.
Restate that again, please, I'm sorry.
Oh, significantly helps delivery of ELD services, English language.
When this topic first came out, I was talking to staff about it. I received an email from the ELD teacher that described how much this would help her. So I'll forward you that.
Be in one building.
I think it's mostly around how few kids she has. So when I have a 2nd grade, you know, I might have 2 2nd grade ELD kids at each building, but they don't get peer-to-peer interaction, and she has to bounce back and forth from that, and having them more grade banded in specific buildings.
Okay,
But I'll forward you that email.
thank you.
Under Colin, lots of mentoring opportunity, but.
Yeah, it's one, I don't know on my level of buy-in, this is a little lower. However, it's definitely one that elementary folks think is important and that they believe happens a lot. Meaning like 5th graders modeling and helping out in kindergarten classrooms, mentoring younger kids on appropriate behavior or teaching of school rules, that kind of stuff. So
Understood.
I think, I don't know how big that is in the grand scheme of things, but I know that just speaking for my family, and I know that's a big thing for my kid, he just loves that part of it.
Yeah.
You know, older kids coming down and reading with him and stuff and doing that.
I definitely think there's some merit to it, and that's why I included it on it. Okay, on the next one, some financial impacts. Again, I won't go into all those, but if anybody has any questions, I will mention the busing one because that comes up a lot. Before I even started this process, around the time I first met with the administrators, I met with the bus farm. And I remember problem solving this last time we went through it. And then, well, this is really a big picture summary. I'll give you what it would look like. Let's say Bonita was the K2 school and Elmira was the 3-5. Our bus routes wouldn't change at all. The Elmira routes would do their routes, and then they drop off the 3-5 kids at Elmira, and then they go to Bonita and drop off K2 kids. So the additional cost for us would be that bus. Instead of leaving Elmira and going to the bus barn, going Bonita back. The Bonita routes would do the routes in the morning, drop off the K2 kids at Bonita, come back to the bus barn. Instead of going to the bus barn, they go to Elmira back. So that'd be our additional cost, that 600 yards or whatever.
That's minute.
Very small. After school, I think is the real issue, and how I need to address this. We really need to work on times and when each school ends and stops. Before school, I think there's really no impact. After school, and it's why one of the reasons I'm wanted to talk about this now is next summer we're renovating the Bonita parking lot and expanding that parking. I think what we do is that school will be out. Is it 5 minutes earlier? Is it 7? Is it 3 minutes? I don't know. We'd figure that out, but all the buses would go to Bonita, every bus. Some in the new bus lot, and then some in our new parking lot, maybe like they used to be. We'd configure that. If we were doing this, I'd work with the architects now, figure out exactly how many buses we need. They'd have a spot in that lot. They'd pick up all the kids that ride the bus, and then those buses would go to Elmira, pick up the 3-5 kids, and then they go back to Bonita to expand their route. So I think the biggest negative there would be a Bonita K2 kid will be on the bus longer. Nobody else, I don't think, would really affect. The 3-5 kids wouldn't be on the bus much longer. The Elmira 3-5 kids, maybe a little bit longer, but a Bonita K2 kid could be on the bus 10, 15 minutes longer going home.
But the same bus is picking, go ahead.
That's what I was going to ask, 10-15 minutes, that's not a lot.
It's not a lot, but if you're on there for 25 minutes and now it's 40, you know, definitely have an impact, and definitely developing that schedule and a plan to make that as tight as we could possibly get it, so that the length of time they're on the bus is as short as possible.
What's siblings from different grades, siblings at different schools would be on the same bus at the same time? Like one would be on it longer than another, right? They'd be going from one school to another, but they would eventually be together on the same bus.
Okay, but that I want that Veneta route, either from Veneta and out a first grader and a fourth grader, it picks up the first grader, gets the fourth grader, and then goes and does that route.
Yeah, because we need a kid's coming up and come to Elmira, pick up that, and then go back, yeah.
Okay, next kind of big picture area was, click forward, social impacts, talked a little bit about that, kind of a mentoring piece. So
Well, what about siblings though? I mean, they're gonna get split up instead of being in the same school, like a lot of people have now.
definitely, a con. Although I'd say it's gonna happen twice more, when one's at elementary and one's at the middle, and one's at middle and one's at high school, but definitely a con. I would think from the majority of people, some people might think it's a pro, let's get Timmy away from Johnny, but big picture. I think especially from the parent side, and that's really, you know, the thing I buy into the most around the cons around this topic is it makes difficult the life of an elementary parent that has two kids, you know, that are in elementary school. Definitely complicates their life. There's no doubt about that.
2 different drop-offs.
Yeah. Two different schools, two different things.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, especially since the elementary is already a different start time and end time from the middle school, and I know it's a huge pain in the butt for us and a bunch of the people that we know just for that stuff being different, right? Wife having to go to one school, pick up a kid, sit in the parking lot of the church for 40 minutes till another kid gets out. I'm just thinking like at another school added, there's a lot of people with 2-3 kids that might, you know, split up over those age groups. They may have a K2, a 3-5 and a middle schooler. It's like,
And I know the exact number, I want to say it's 67, so I did one more. I did look into that, how many parents of our current elementary kids would, if we were a K2, 3-5 model this year, how many would have a kid in each building? I want to say the number was 67, but it was less than I thought, but I can definitely, if folks were really interested in that number, I can give it to you. I had Becky run that a couple months ago.
And you do like the Thanksgiving lunch, and then you're doing it at, you know,
Right.
different buildings and.
That's certainly, like I said, it's the biggest con that I could buy into is complicating the lives of parents with young kids. Okay, the other area, staff impacts, pros and cons. Certainly the con, you know, the initial disruption, it's definitely gonna be an emotional thing for folks that are, you know, gonna have big changes. So is there one more read? Area, community parent, and again, I'll kind of focus on the cons here. Definitely, like I said previously, it complicates the lives of parents. More turnover within the PTAs. Does it create issues with TSP scheduling? After school program difficulties for not our programs, but the after school program at Elmira that already runs there, the daycare. I haven't really investigated that, but I think that could create some issues we need to solve. 2 more slides. So that was a lot. This is kind of what I'd recommend the next step. Yeah, the board wants, you know, you guys can just talk to your constituents, for lack of a better word, ask me questions. If you want more data, I got some stuff I'm taking notes on, I'll send you. Beat this up for a month, we can talk about it next month. If you knew right now that, Mr. Carpenter, there's no way we're doing this. It's definitely not something that I'm gonna stand on the table and speak and yell and say we have to do this. But I feel like I need to be honest and say, if we did this next year, I think in 10 years, it's kind of one of those things that we say, we need to do this. Is the world gonna light on fire and the distance goes out next year if we don't? Absolutely not. So,
but it is a significant financial burden on schools as the years go on.
yep, it's gonna make, like I said, the biggest thing that's gonna occur is we're gonna have a lot more blended classrooms. And this year we're spending, you know, we've hired another employee just to help deal with the large kindergarten blended environment.
I think it's a lot like the data that shows, I mean, whether you support it or you don't, I mean, it's something we all understand that may we're gonna need to do in the future. And I don't think anybody ever has said, I'm glad I waited to the last minute.
Yeah. Okay.
Are there any other local districts that do anything like that?
Excellent question. So if, that's one of the things I noted on here, there's nothing local, but, this Clemens Forum came to us from Lincoln County. And in Lincoln County, they had, in one town, Walport, they had two K-6 schools. And 10 years ago, they went to a K2 and a 3-6. So, if the board wants to continue to investigate that, I'm either gonna, some folks will do a site visit, and say, are you guys happy you did that? Are you terrible? Or we'll get some kind of Zoom call with a bunch of their leaders and teachers, and I'll get on a committee that's been meeting and, just open it up to share us their experience. From Ms. Clay's forums telling the story to me, it's been a huge success. They thought it went well. I did send you that list of links to 10 different articles on this topic. I would, however, caution you to take all of the ones that say it's great and all the ones that say it's terrible, to take it with a grain of salt, because know that from my perspective, if we had a choice, without numbers and no financial impact, I'd stay the way we are, 2 K-5 schools. But I think this works for our community with our enrollment. The fact that we only have 2 schools, the fact that they're very close together. If I was a superintendent in a large district with 50 schools, would I be looking at shifting them to a K-3-5? Absolutely not. But I think in this environment, like it did in Lincoln County, it would work well. So one of the next steps, if the board, whether it's now or in December, we want to continue to look into this, I'd recommend 2 things. Ask the community what you're gonna hear. Ask the community, do a survey. What you'll hear is probably a lot like the survey on board stipends. It'll be people that don't know all this information, just thinking, oh my goodness, this complicates my life tremendously. I'll go do that. But definitely want some community input. They might raise concerns that I haven't thought about or that we might not have heard before. And then 2 would definitely be to connect with Lincoln County to see out one of them. What were the pros, cons? What do they wish they would have done different? So I would definitely look into that. That's something the board would want to explore further. Like I said, not looking for any decision tonight. Although it's a lot of information, I just encourage. I guess my recommendation, other than you guys talk amongst yourselves here for a few minutes, would be to take kind of a month, listen about this, ask me questions. I'll try to get more info, and in December, give me some kind of no, we're not doing this, or we're not doing it. But let's continue to look into it. And if that's the case, then I'll work on some kind of community survey, and I'll work up some kind of connection with Lincoln County to see how to work with that. Yes.
Do principals fall into like an administrative category, or are they part of the certified classified?
They didn't take this survey that I know of. Like I said, I can tell you before I went down the path, the 2 elementary principals, Miss Klingsforn and Miss Marshall, were all on board. And I know now after talking to Miss Johnson and Miss Vandekar, they are. So if we did a survey like that to our administrators, I assume all of them would say they're in support of it.
I was just curious because the breakdown of the different schools, like on the responses to it, you got 6 through 12 included in there as well. It's quite different. I know for the best you can do at times to gain the information gathered up together. I would argue we'd have to put more weight into the K-5 because that's who it affects most. The response on.
For sure. I would definitely. Yeah, I don't argue with you at all there. I think you need to consider. You definitely need to consider. At what level, how much more weight, but I would certainly probably give a little more weight to our folks that are in those elementary buildings.
Yeah, and again, just moving forward for when we think about it, just rather than clinging on to these statistics right here, but I'd like to definitely gather more information, look at some other alternatives as well for how to fix this.
Sounds good.
All right.
Can we have a discussion on?
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, there's a lot.
We still have time.
We have time. And again, like I said, nothing's gonna burn down if we don't do this now. What I'll be doing if we decide to table this and not pursue it, I'll definitely be grading a good record of these conversations, everything we've done, saving it if a board. Maybe next year at this time wants to look at it again after we've seen the enrollment, oh, it continues. We not only didn't have 80 kids show up in the fall, we had 71.
Can we have administrators and principals and Shell and everybody speak together? Like,
On this topic?
yeah, like a Q&A or something?
Well, you can do whatever we want. I mean, I'd suggest it at a work session. So if you'd like administrators to come and present something, they could.
I don't even need a presentation, just to back and forth talking about
I'll ask them
pros and
to,
cons of all of it, you know, if they're interested in doing something like that.
if we have a work session next month, this would be a likely topic.
Yeah.
And I'll invite all of them to, well, I won't invite them, I'll tell them, they need to be here. And you can fire away all you got at them.
Yeah. My concern is I just wouldn't want to wait till the last minute if it's something we had to do. I mean, I don't even know if we have to do it now or not. I mean, I don't think I'm educated enough to know that.
Sure.
Leaning on the people we do lean on for their expert opinion. If you're saying it's something that we need to seriously consider, I mean, I think we definitely need to seriously consider it. Yeah.
Would you be able to put together the two scenarios of the future if we stay with what we have versus going K2 and 3-5? What those.
Yeah, just get some, when I look historically, it's hard numbers, right? I know what it would have done. As I project into the future.
Crystal ball, right?
Yeah. It just gets, next year I can be probably pretty accurate because I can, but I'm still guessing at what my kindergarten, but the year after that, now I'm guessing 2 years. So it really becomes difficult to forecast out what K2, 3-5 would be. Although like I said, with our smallest 3 grade levels being K1, 2, in 3 years, those 3 grade levels are going to be 3, 4, 5. And if our next K1, 2 classes are like those, it's going to be significant changes.
You know, one that concerns me the most is the faster decline at Elmira. I mean, you can't get down to half as many students at Elmira as you have at Benita and give the same education. It doesn't feel like.
Well, it'll just change. Resource allocation will be different. And, when I've looked into changing boundaries before, it doesn't fix the problem immediately. Because let's say tomorrow the district said, we're taking a new map, we're kicking it down to Perkins and up this road, and this is now Elmira Elementary. Well, are we forcing all these people that have been at Benita for 4 years to now go to Elmira? No, it'll probably be a new kid that comes in. So that's going to get fixed in 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 years. It's not going to get fixed right then.
Well, how does this not become like a class size deal with people from Benita wanting their kid to go to Elmira to get into a smaller classroom?
Well, if the enrollment goes out in one school, we're shifting teachers. I mean, the school will have less teachers. So,
But could people not petition to have send their kid to a different elementary school?
they can ask, yeah. And typically we'd say, sure, as long as you're not going from a class size, you're not going over there. A, you gotta transport yourself, you gotta have that ability. And B, well, you're coming from a class of 24 and we're giving this teacher 28. We're not gonna do that. Now, if it's
I mean the other way around. Say they have 25 and there's a class of 10 over here.
Yeah.
It's like,
we can do
I just wonder how much of that would happen.
that. Well, they can do it now.
A lot of it happens now. I know a lot of kids that live in the Benita City, they go to the Elmira school.
Yeah, and really it's just about, I haven't looked at that data, but if we looked at where all, let's say we had 100 kids in our elementary school, all the ones going to Elmira don't live in the Elmira area, some of them in Benita. A lot of them that do that in particular want it because they want to access that after school program at Elmira. They have their kid over there that they're gonna stay after school versus getting on a bus and shift them over, which we do. The other thing is it's difficult equity wise, because the only kids that we can do that for are kids that have parents that have the ability to drive them to work, to school and don't work or have a stay at home mom. Yeah, we definitely have kids, transferring that would continue.
At what point do you drop so small over here, we're not adequately utilizing the size of the school versus.
Yeah, like I said, if the board decided, we don't ever want to go down this path, or we're gonna kick this down as far as we can, then we're gonna have to do something eventually on this path, and it's gonna have to be changed to boundaries.
Yeah.
We need more kids.
I guess that's the answer to that. You change the boundaries. Yeah. All right. Mark, you got anything?
Wrong, good.
Lisa?
On this, no, I'm done. You will.
Do we wanna power on to the next thing on the agenda, or do we wanna hold it over to the regular session?
I was gonna say. we could
Yes.
just put this off.
That can't go in executive, it have to be in regular, but we can do it in the next session.
You can just, let's add it to the last side of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So that'll conclude the work session?
Before, so we're gonna table that for later. What I did do is I just have some pass outs for everybody.
For the superintendent
For the
evaluation?
Superintendent process.
You wanna hold on to those until we get to it in the next agenda?
Nope, what I wanna do is, I'm gonna hold on to it for now, but I'm gonna pass it out so that way everybody can look at it before the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'll do it while we're done going into the next one.
You gonna pass it on now?
Huh?
You're not gonna pass it on now?
That we're gonna, that topic that we're moving is just gonna be at the end of the regular meeting.
Yeah, it's tonight. Adjourned.
Okay.
Potty break?
Yeah,
It's 2 minutes.
Cameron, you want?
How much time do we have? 2 minutes?
You got plenty.
-10.
There you go. This is just me, something. Yes. I should have it. Oh, you are?
Yes, I do. I got it.
Right, and then I don't believe somebody.
I got me a big spread on there. It gives us- We have a shared vision in the Fern Ridge School District to provide excellence for every student so that each will reach their greatest potential. Thank you for the members of the public who have joined us. As a reminder, school board meetings and work sessions are meetings of the board held in public, providing an opportunity to observe the board's discussion and actions. In an effort to conduct official board business, we ask the audience to be respectful and refrain from questions, comments, and unnecessary noises while the board is conducting the meeting. There's an opportunity for citizen comment tonight, and the board looks forward to hearing from those who signed up. I will share some of the reminders when we get to that portion of the meeting. Also, please note that all board meetings are live streamed and posted on the school board area of the website. Citizenship Award is the first thing up. And I believe there are citizen sickness.
Yes.
So we're gonna hold it over till next month and just do 2 next month.
Okay.
So let's do the flag salute and all these. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Got myself confused.
Yeah, you messed up.
I did. Only been doing that since the first grade.
It's okay, I messed it up on the announcement report.
That was bad. I was thinking about the agenda.
No, I know, I did mess it up this morning.
All right, that brings us to the public comment portion of the meeting. The Fern Ridge School Board encourages public input. A person wanting to provide public comment will need to complete and submit a thing by 1 o'clock, the day of the meeting. Public comment is limited to this place on the agenda, not to exceed the total of 30 minutes for all comments. A person giving public comment is limited to an established time limit of 4 minutes. All speakers made during the public meeting offer objective criticism of school operations and programs. The board will not hear personal complaints concerning district personnel, nor against any person connected with the school system. Please state your name, and if you are a resident of the district. If speaking for an organization, state the name of the organization. The board reserves the right to refer the matter to administration. We have one person speaking tonight, Ms. McGuire.
Hi,
Good evening.
good evening. My name is Erica McGuire and I am a 5th grade teacher at Bonita Elementary. I'm here to share my concerns about the proposed K2 through 5 reconfiguration. First, the academic impacts. Only one school would participate in state testing, meaning school report cards would be based on different metrics. K2 on district assessments and 3-5 on state tests. This creates an apples versus oranges comparison and does not accurately represent school performance. Other districts have seen similar challenges. Verona Public Schools in New York noted that multiple early transitions reduced continuity and limited the effectiveness of support staff. Their students faced forced transitions by 7th grade. Even with our 3 transitions, research shows early school moves negatively affect academic and emotional success. More transitions also risk disrupting special ed services. Reading and math interventions for 3rd through 5th graders would be significantly reduced, causing likely dips in achievement. Attendance could also suffer, especially for our students who currently walk or bike to Bonita Elementary. Superintendent Gary Mazzola of Attleboro Public Schools in Massachusetts observed that when early grade teachers are separated from upper grade teachers, they lack a clear understanding of what students need to be ready for later grades. Students then face shock, new routines, and building-wide adjustments that reduce instructional time. Second, the financial impacts. A full reconfiguration requires major physical changes: bathrooms, counters, sinks, classrooms, libraries. It is unclear how this can be completed in one summer. Custodial and maintenance costs would likely increase, along with teacher relocation expenses. Transportation costs would rise with new routes, possibly require more drivers. We would need additional SLC and Bridges teachers, which is a significant financial burden. Other districts have found the projected savings did not materialize. For example, Portland Public Schools in Maine expected a 30% savings, but realized less than half of 1%. Most importantly, if families are not supported, decreased enrollment would reduce district funding. Third, staff impacts. In Attleboro, teachers reported stress and confusion around moving classrooms, compensation, and logistics. Reconfigurations often reduce vertical alignment between grades and limit collaboration. Restructuring long-established teams can damage morale. In Winona, Minnesota, similar changes have led to multiple staff resignations. Next, the social and community impacts. In several districts, reconfiguration uprooted hundreds of students, increased bus times, and created tension between parents and staff. Portland Public Schools in Massachusetts emphasized that strong relationships are essential to student success, and reconfiguration forces students to rebuild those connections repeatedly. More transitions lead to academic loss and disrupt established school cultures. Parent involvement often drops when schools are split by grade bands. After the early grades, many parents feel their role is complete and disengage from the upper elementary school community. Lack of public input has also caused distrust in other districts. Unfortunately, many Fern Ridge families are currently left out of this process as well, which risks damaging community trust at a time when our district is still recovering from COVID-era challenges. Finally, district impacts. The current survey results, they include middle and high school staff who are not directly affected, which skews the data. Accurate decisions require input primarily from the K-5 educators and families. In closing, this reconfiguration risks creating more disruption than benefit. And if it doesn't solve the current issues, will we reverse course again and cause more upheaval? Thank you for listening and for considering the concerns of your educators, constituents, and community.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Do you have a question?
Yes,
Could we please get a copy of that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
absolutely.
I have a question too.
Yes.
So if our only other option is to redo the boundary lines, then is that in your mind a better option? I mean,
Yes.
do you see challenges with that are gonna be issues?
Yes, I do see challenges. I don't know the specifics, but I've been in this district for almost 20 years. And I can tell you there's far less disruption if you change the boundaries rather than completely separating the schools. That's going to disrupt far more families than it would if you change the boundaries.
Yeah, so we try to even out the kids. I see just as many parents getting relocated, not against their will. I mean, I see that as a challenge as well. You redo the boundary lines, all of a sudden now you're telling somebody, well, now you go to Elmira.
Except it doesn't split up a single family. So if I've got four kids of all different ages,
Yeah.
at least they're going to one school, one elementary school, as
Yeah.
opposed to this one goes here and this one goes there.
I
So,
get
at
that.
the individual level.
Yeah. Just curious how I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Will she end up giving that to you or?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, we're
I'm good.
Yeah, send it to you. Yep.
Right. That concludes the public comment portion. Moving on to monthly items. Approval of last month's minutes. Motion to approve the October 2025 regular meeting minutes.
I move to approve the October 20th, 2025 regular session minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Not hearing any discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. This brings us to Kiwanis.
All right, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Are we doing enrollment first? Okay. All right. As of November 1st, Elmira Elementary has an average class size of 24, and Veneta Elementary has an average class size of 22.29. Total elementary enrollment is 576, including bridges and structured learning rooms. The middle school has 313 students enrolled, including its bridges classroom, and the high school has 375. In-district enrollment total is down by 20 from the budgeted projection, and our overall enrollment, including the charter school, is down by 7 compared to our budgeted projections. Does anyone, I know you guys just got done talking a lot about enrollment, but does anybody have any questions?
What was the total enrollment numbers at EES and BES?
At EES,
Yep.
the total, I don't have that broken down. Let's see. I have, one sec, I can have that up for you. So 240 plus. So they're 255, including their two, the two bridges rooms.
Got it. And Veneta?
And then Veneta is 321,
Thank you.
including their structural learning room. Okay, I guess I can move on to the financial report if there's no more questions on that. Okay. We have received 30% of our budgeted revenue compared to 29% at the same time last year. We have spent 20% of our budgeted expenses compared to 21% last October. So we're very similar in both areas. I have nothing really abnormal to report on this, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
I don't think so.
All right.
So we need to,
Thank you.
we need a motion to approve the general fund expenditure report for October 31, 2025.
I will make a motion to approve the general fund revenue and expenditure report.
Second.
Discussion? Not hearing any discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Kawana.
Thanks, Juan.
Yep.
She's in the back room. She's back there. Like coming in. This is fun.
Make a note.
She's gonna hate me for that, but yeah, it sounds fun.
I'll be able to pay for her.
Yeah, as I said, I know her office isn't that far away. All right, Fern Ridge Education Association report. You're up.
Right. There we go. Oh. All right. Oh, yes. No, it's fine happening. Seems like slideshow. That's like slideshow. Pictures will show up. Okay, you wanna go into? Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Next week. All right. So on the left, Elmira Elementary, their little blurb, Harvest Carnival success. What an incredible night at the Elmira Elementary Harvest Carnival. Families from both Elmira and Veneta came together to enjoy games, treats, and festive fun. Kids had an absolute blast playing games, winning prizes, and soaking in the fall spirit, while parents got the chance to relax, socialize, and enjoy time together as a community. Our amazing middle and high school students from FRSD lent a big helping hand, and our parent volunteers made the event truly shine with their creativity and dedication. The decorations were fantastic, the energy was high, and together we raised $1,200 to support our school. Thank you to everyone who made this wonderful community celebration such a success. And then on the right, with Veneta, we are incredibly thankful for our behavior specialist, Eston Warren, and counselor Ashley Fisher. They support students, staff, and families in so many different ways. Mr. Warren steps up to any challenge and has excellent rapport with everyone at VES, students, and staff alike. Mrs. Fisher is patient and generous. She is currently organizing a 5-day dinner plan for nearly 30 VES families to supplement their food needs during Thanksgiving break. Here you can see friendly competition during our jump-a-thon event. The word is Mr. Warren and Mrs. Fisher are still fighting for the title of jump rope champion. All right, and then for the middle school, thank you to our entire community for supporting our Fill the Cauldron fundraiser. We proudly raised just over $1,000. Your generosity directly funds student activities, including the dance from the 7th, and makes these meaningful experiences possible for our students. And then on the right with the powder puff, the high school would like to give a big shout out to all the people who stepped up to help coach the teams for the annual powder puff game, a fundraiser for the senior class. Coaches and other volunteers included Superintendent Gary Carpenter, Michelle Marshall, John Goldegger, Pat Wandra, Courtney Peeler, and Jeff Green. The junior and senior girls put in a lot of effort before and during the game, with the seniors pulling off the hard-fought win by 1 point. It was a fun night for all. So, and then that's where I will speak on the last slide.
Okay. So we know that educators support students in the classroom all the time. But I thought that this month we could focus on, well, I didn't think this, Jennifer and I thought we could talk about the ways that our union supports students like outside the classroom. So one of those things is our OEA president, Enrique Ferreira, roll my R's, I took Spanish. And the OEA Relief Fund Committee met in the last couple of weeks and approved $10,000 to be given to each UniServe council, which is like a regional council, and that's like, those are our legal people, to donate to food banks or pantries to help with the delay in SNAP benefits that happened this month. So that was some action that OEA took for like an immediate response to student need, because we know students succeed better when they have full bellies. And so another kind of like way that we support students outside of, you know, our normal day-to-day is the OEA Foundation, which was established in 1995. And basically educators can apply for up to $100 grants to help students meet basic, urgent, and immediate needs, so that way they can succeed in school. This is to ensure the physical and social and emotional needs of students are met, because we know when those needs are met, students succeed better. So if Jake, for example, has been squinting at the board for weeks, and I'm just like, Jake, do you need glasses? Do you usually wear glasses? And he's like, well, you know, mom says that I need glasses, but we can't afford it right now. But it's fine. Just put me in the front row. I could go to the OEA Foundation, write up like this need thing of, hey, one of my students needs glasses. They see that need and they send money to us to help pay for an eye exam for Jake and maybe a pair of glasses. So as you can see, eyeglasses is one of those top ones. That's a need that I see every year. Students, oh, it's fine. I can see. Winter coats is another one. That one will probably come up here pretty soon. We'll see a lot of grants for that to get kids warm coats or proper shoes for the winter. Dental work, if it's just like a dental checkup, or, you know, obviously within that $100 range, doctor's visits. So basically, you know, we hear things from students all the time about things that they need, and rather than teachers pay out of pocket or, you know, that kind of stuff, we have a way to go and support that. And this is part of what our dues dollars go to, but you can also, teachers can also have money go into it from their payroll each month if they feel the need.
I have a question for you.
Yeah,
The $100, how often can you ask for that?
it's $100 per
school year.
per school year,
Per
per teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's sometimes there's one kid that really needs that $100, but you know, if you know you have 5 kids that need jackets, you know, we can get some $20 jackets and make that in that. So each educator gets up to $100 each year.
Okay, yeah, okay, thank you.
You have a question?
Just gonna say like, what if his eyeglasses are more than $100?
Well, I mean, eye doctors do have like the cheaper lenses and stuff. So these would be like those, you have choice A and choice B of eyeglasses kind of situation. You're not going to get the Gucci glasses, unfortunately.
Oh,
Yeah.
for Jake.
No Gucci for Jake. But it can help at least cover the cost of an exam. You know, maybe that's the barrier that the family's facing. So yeah, it's just things to help, or like with school supplies, that kind
Can
of.
you and Snyder both get one for Jake, so then he has like $200?
I don't know, we can.
I think students.
Sorry,
are
I just
receiving
keep
them.
moving.
Yeah, it's also like student specific too, because I think we do have to like send receipts and verification and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a way to meet some needs, to make sure students can succeed. Any more questions?
Do a lot of teachers take advantage of this?
I personally haven't done it, but I know of educators who have gone and done this and gotten winter coats and boots for kids. And so it's kind of like a hidden gem that we can access. I mean, we're very fortunate to be in a district where we have Amy Hand, our family resource coordinator, who is helping meet a lot of these needs. But if there were a way, like if she did have a kid where it's like, hey, we can't meet this need with the resources that we have, then we could apply to OEA Foundation. And that's one of those conversations that continuously happens is.
You guys get this information out to the educators so everybody pretty much knows they have this opportunity.
Yep. Yep.
Cool. Seems like a great way to help Amy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so she has amazing resources and there's so many things out there. But this could help fill a gap if they're.
Fill in the crack.
Mhm. Yep.
Now, please tell me if I'm wrong, but didn't I just read something with Anita or Elmira that they had coats? If they weren't claimed,
Yeah, lost and found.
lost, right, if they weren't claimed, what was gonna happen to them?
We donate them, but we don't donate them within this community.
Yeah.
We don't want Gary's buddy who was a knucklehead and lost his coat to see his friend Tommy wearing it on the playground.
Right.
So they go elsewhere, but they do get donated.
Yeah.
We really try to promote the fact to remind parents to write their kid's name on the inside of their coat, because it's really easy. Doesn't end up on lost and found.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure we've donated a lot of sweatshirts.
Yeah.
Right. I've lost a few here and there, but yeah, they.
Yeah, so all the stuff, I read that too, like I said, Benita, we're putting out some announcements because Thanksgiving week. The lost and found is getting cleaned out. Check it out if you got a kid at Benita.
Yeah, so we don't just throw them in the dumpster, we actually make sure that they get out to people in need. So these are just a couple of the financial supports that they can offer students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Gucci. Riley and Gucci.
Okay, I'll start. Sports, start off with sports. Fall sports just ended. Both boys and girls soccer team ended with a win, so it's good. Not senior night specifically, but the Lapine makeup game for girls specifically. Winter sports tryouts officially started today for everything. I don't know about cheer because they're different, but
Yes, I'm listening to you.
oh, okay. Actually I had to leave my tryout early, so whatever. And then Powder Puff, I'm wrapping it in there. Seniors won, really good game with little to no injury as far as I'm aware of. Grand Night Committee raised about
I
$3,000.
hurt my pride.
That's okay. We can live with that.
So compassionate.
Everyone had a fun night as far as I'm aware of, so. Phone policy, kids have been pretty good about staying off their phones. Some students are having trouble staying off, so they're being handled appropriately in said situation. There have been more pocket takes. Actually one happened today, I was quite mad about it. Leadership class went to the OASD conference from November 1st to the 3rd, 2 weekends ago, I think. Many students learned lots and brought home knowledge about different things that we hadn't even thought of as a class. We have some new ideas for assemblies, Campus Chaos, Morph, which is from backwards, is something that I want to try along with Campus Chaos. It's like a community event, night, games, food, whatever. And how to lead the school and class directly. The conference also allowed for the entire leadership class to be able to bond and hang out with each other, strengthening the connection between each other. And next week, leadership is going to be creating an I'm Thankful wall. So leadership has a I'm thankful for ... and then we're giving each student an index card in homeroom and they're going to write something and leadership will go through it and make sure it's all appropriate and hang it up Friday. So Monday and Tuesday it's up and it's cute and festive. Yeah.
Okay,
On NHS, we're starting the making of candy grams. They are, if you guys don't know what they are, they're candy canes decorated like reindeer with messages written on them for your friends. They're $1 each or $6 for $5. We used to do it. It's kind of like a little fundraiser. We don't make much money off it, and it's just more of a way to like spread holiday cheer.
Can you tell us, folks here, what NHS is?
National Honor Society. So the requirements to get into it, I'll start there, is a 3.5 GPA or higher, and you get admitted usually your sophomore year based on your GPA. And then you'll get a note. It's like you have an event, you get sworn. It does good. It does good.
Oh, I did, where you're going with
And
that.
that's it. And then then from there, your junior and senior year, you have to get 40 hours each year, 40 hours plus, I should say. Community
Volunteer.
service hours. Community service hours, and you have to like sign off by witnesses and all that.
Oh, I forgot to bring the paper. That's fine.
Anyway, community service hours, and basically just help out your community and all that. That's really what it is. And there's just that requirement of 3.5 GPA in addition. And if you do not hit the requirement your sophomore year and cannot get into a junior year, you can still get into a senior year. So the students have had that happen this year.
Like if you get your GPA back up.
And then also on that Adopt a Family will begin fundraising December 1st. And ending December 12th. We will be shopping for that the weekend of the 13th and 14th of December. Also, the clothing drive I want to do around this time of the year. We're pushing to after winter break, just due to the fact that some kids get new clothes during Christmas time, so maybe they're more incentivized to get rid of their old clothes, bring them in, and still during the winter months for like warmer coats.
Explain what adopt a family means.
Adoptive family. Adoptive family is, I don't know if you take one or more families from each school. They're kept anonymous, except to our advisor, Michelle Nelson, and she puts together a list and a script for NHS to read out to their third period classes, in which they will fundraise for about 2 weeks. And then with those money or the toys that they have a list of things, we wrap the
Like the angel trees. Of Walmart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we just wrap the gifts, or we go shopping at Walmart, which we also do. And we wrap those gifts, and then Michelle Nelson brings out those gifts to the family. And yeah, it's a good thing for families that can't always afford what they need for Christmas.
Kind of like the Santa Project.
Yes. Then we also have the REN survey, which is the Western Regional Education Network, is at Elmira High School this upcoming Wednesday, the 19th. The survey is focused on the resources students have on campus through various outreach programs. They are planning on a 25-minute per grade with 10 students, 5 girls and 5 guys from each grade. It's during a very each grade has a different period assigned to them also. I know the senior class.
That's fun.
Yes, that's for sure. The YAR grant, to follow back up on that, the leadership class was given $3,000 to use for a mental health awareness week. I believe, mistake me if I'm wrong, went over that we got like $35,000 for a driving school program, but that is not, that's city's working on
And
that.
we do have idea, we did just talk to her this morning, we do have like a plan of action for that.
Yes, and then the leadership class was the $3,000 additional dollars used for a mental health awareness week. It will be in the spring of this upcoming year. We are planning to have a public speaker, one that was brought to us this morning. His name is Daniel Gallet. Elaine Gallet.
My bad.
Elaine ESD with this week for more ideas and to see if he will speak. From what I heard from Joel and Goldegger, he's a very good speaker and pretty hard to get. We're also planning to do activities throughout the course of the week. One of the things that me and Fern worked on this last year, but we weren't able to implement it in time, is called the My Wall. We'll have 3 different prompts, 3 index cards, 1 for each prompt. These are the prompts right now are like, who inspires you the most? Choose a word that describes you. And when I feel anxious or sad, who do I go to? There's also a lot of other different activities. That's just one very low level activity, I should say, really minor surface level. And then also with the $3,000, if we can implement a fun, more lighter thing, I've heard of other schools doing like bringing in puppies or like goats and stuff. So hopefully we can do that too.
Yes, yoga goats.
So we need to talk about that.
Everybody wants puppies.
And that's all we have for your report.
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome, thank you.
What is, quick question, the campus chaos thing, you said you're trying to do again, what is it?
It's, so MORP is like, it's a little bit different.
Hold on. Or?
From backwards.
Okay, tracking, slow,
Yeah.
works with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
More. It's more of like a community event, so like, I mean, we tried to get Campus Chaos to be community, but it's brand new, so nobody really knew, and we didn't promote it as a community event. So more, we would send out like flyers to the elementary schools to give to each kid in a folder and whatnot. And it's like food trucks and it's more of just like a hangout and we make it kind of carnival based. I was hoping to work with the middle school on this. Or maybe we just host a carnival at some point, but these are just some more like big ideas that I had. Yeah, and it wouldn't be like it wouldn't be ran like King's Chaos. It's just like a King's Chaos spinoff. So just like carnival games and then like tug of war. Like there would be like set time games, game times.
We got you.
And yeah, I mean it's still like it's in my brain. Nothing is written down. This is all just still in my brain. So. But yeah.
Keep it up, Riley. I mean, the community involvement and getting younger kids involved with the older kids, I think it's super important to our community, and I love that you're taking that on.
Have you seen sorry, I'm still going. Have you seen the like the seniors and the kindergartners like walk across the football field together and like the seniors give the kids a rose or whatever? I want to do that. It's so cute. I can do that. I don't know how to go about doing that. That's just also another idea.
Make it happen. Keep it up. You're doing a lot for the community by doing it.
You're doing
We
great.
appreciate it. You're up.
I'll make it real brief because I talked a lot in the work session. Just a quick update on some bond stuff. We're making good progress on the high school. Punch list for all the athletic facility stuff. Still the biggest issue is parking lot drainage. I still have not seen a quote on that. I thought I would see it on Friday. I sent out a couple emails today. I haven't heard back. But that's the biggest one on my radar there. The covered area at the middle school is pretty much done. There's some grading stuff, some groundwork around the side, and now we're thinking about possibly pouring a sidewalk from the covered area across the grass towards the front door. So a little short space with a little clearer path for kids to walk. Not that they'll use it, they'll traipse through the mud anyways, but that is on track. Came up with a couple things at Benita Gym we're gonna fix. One, I went over the other day because I thought there's some issues with the measurement of the volleyball court. And a volleyball court is supposed to be 900 square feet on each side, 30 by 30, and ours is not. So that's going to get fixed. Timeline yet, I don't know. For youth volleyball, that season's pretty much over, so it's not a pressing issue, but before next fall, for sure, that will get rectified.
So they just striped it wrong.
They striped it wrong. It's about, let's see, it's too wide and too short.
They didn't hit either of
Which is my
30, it's like 28 too wide, and instead of 60 long, it's like 57 or so.
Is it the right square footage, like somebody did the math or okay?
Yeah, I mean, it might still be 900.
Interesting.
We've had a couple planning meetings on the summer projects for 2026. I had a big one last week. We're working on the early permit stuff with the city for zoning for that new property, so we can stay on track and do demo over winter break. Starting conversations about what trees we can cut down, what we can't, how many we gotta replant, all that kind of stuff. So that's where we're at in that process. But the engineers, I think they have, their goal is to turn this stuff into the planning commission by this Thursday to the Benita City. Middle school, we've had, I think, 2 meetings so far on the science work that'll take place summer of 2026. Again, on track there. So.
With the drainage issue at the high school, has the engineer company taken responsibility for it not working?
Yeah, the last email Scott keeps reinforcing, we ain't paying for this, he's paying for it.
Right.
And they just acknowledge it's our responsibility. We want to wait till we get a hard quote before we commit. So I'm waiting to see that.
But their KPFF is willing to take on the responsibility of the cost. And the fix is, I'm talking to Scott, the way he described it was there's some kind of reducing mechanism inside there that slows the water flow out. And they're talking just about enlarging that.
They're talking about eliminating when it gets to a certain level before water gets to the R tank, it'll have an offshoot that sends water to that ditch. So it won't even go through the R tank, some percentage of it.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll see how that goes. We haven't really had a drenching 3-day rain yet.
Right.
So we'll just want to monitor it this winter. If it fixes it, great. If it doesn't, then I'm gonna want to take the lid off that art tank and whatever mechanisms in there that slows water down, we need to speed it up a little.
Right. So they're not worried about, overflowing the ditch.
I am worried about that.
Okay.
So,
But again, when he told me the solution, I was like, well, we got a flood, you're just gonna flood the.
yeah, so we'll see. Again, I gotta see how it plays out. The engineers say it shouldn't be a problem. The ditch has always been there. It's always been designed. That's where always the water went, but obviously now we have a lot more. Gravel there.
Yeah.
It's definitely something of all the glitches over there that are, fix this door lock or paint this counter. That's definitely the biggest one that.
Yeah.
I think is gonna be with us for 12 months to see how it goes through this one. Get it totally aligned and working by next fall. So. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's reading my water. All right, no other questions? Discussion items. OSBA conference report. Lisa, you wanna give that?
Okay. Very interesting. This is my takeaways from it, and already I'm happy to say that I'm checking things off. So that was very, very nice to just come here and, that's done. One of the things that, they were talking about that I took in was accountability. And with accountability across the whole board with, where are the monies being appropriated to? Are we making student achievement a priority? Okay, are we open and honest with what is going on in our district, including everybody like the students, families, staff, and community? And how are we looking for the future? I'll stop here for a minute because it wasn't that it was really doom and gloom, but it was, I went away from there feeling like listening to them was like this, this, that. The superintendents are leaving, teachers are leaving, enrollment is down, everything's down. It's not gonna be until 2030 that we're gonna start being financially fit again. And I was like, dang, well, I look at it like this. You can only go down so low. And the way that OSBA made me feel was like, we're there, right? So if we're there, the only thing we can do is go up. So that's how I am, fill that glass out all the way up. They had a lot on conflict to conversation. Really just talking about, people can get together. This is me speaking now, okay, from what I got from it, okay. People can get together, a bottom line, we have a school board, 5 members plus our superintendent, okay, so let's just say 6 people. And so that means that we're bringing 6 ideas, thoughts, to the table, right? That's 6 different people thinking 6 different ways, okay? Well, our job is to bring everything to the table and then we work out what is best for our district. So they gave a lot of good examples about, not just talking, but listening. Really, that was it. And the other thing too is, asking people, how do you come to that? Or what would you do? Or can you tell me more? If you have 2 people talking and there's conflict there, instead of putting up those walls and then cutting off communication, what you can do is invite that communication. I'll stop there with that. Thanks for letting me use you. So I've already talked somewhat about how low can we go. A couple of things that I took away from there is that at 3rd grade, the third graders should be proficient at third grade level for reading, writing, and math. Okay. They talked about how low can you go? Louisiana, Tennessee, and Florida, they were saying to look them up, research them, because those are 3 states that were down here and they're doing this now. Okay. And then, one of the other things too, I thought was interesting, there's a couple takeaways there. One is, are we focusing on reading, writing, arithmetic, getting those kids proficient in their grade level, okay? And then adding in extras like extracurriculars and things like that, okay? The other part to this is, do we give incentives? Now, I'm pretty sure, no, I'm not pretty sure, so I'm not gonna say anything. Okay, so what they were saying was, if we are like how they were projecting that Oregon is doing really, really bad, okay, what are we doing to get us out of this and go up? Superintendents, are we giving the superintendents incentives, bonuses, whatever you want to say, for bringing the admins up? Okay, are we giving the admins bonuses, for the staff? It's like you cannot expect to be loved, stay right there and go up, because it's not going to happen. So if you are in one spot and you know you're in that spot, what can you do? What can we do is what I'm saying. What can we do to get us out of this level and bring us up? And then again, you're going to go back to conversations and stuff like that. Good job. One of the things that takeaways was surveys, and they did surveys, the yes, no, or yes, no versus, I call it a track and play. Right on, because the questions that you asked in that last survey for K2, 3 to 5, perfect. The wordage, right on. You gave us percentages with it, and they actually explained to us and showed us how much of a difference that is, and what kind of take the people that are doing the survey are giving. Instead of a yes, no, leaving it open, they're actually being able to give an answer to how they really feel about things. We already talked about that. Oh yeah, so I'll just mention these 3 things because they did. That things are gonna be rough. Not that I agree with this, to be honest with you. Well, I'm just telling you what they said. Things are gonna be rough till about 2030, and that was per OSBA. We are okay to the end of this school year, but then we don't know where we're at. Is that correct? We're good this year.
We're good for many years after this year.
Okay.
But, you know, anything, we'll have to make changes and adjust, but we have a reserve built to deal with hard times. And so we'll be dipping into our reserve, but with less kids, less state funding, sure, we're gonna go through changes. You know, like I mentioned to you before, there are districts in Lane County, they're gonna be sending out pink slips in December and January. We're certainly not doing that. And I wouldn't expect to in the foreseeable future. We'll see. Right, this week is when the state financial forecast comes out. That's going to be a big impact. When the legislature decides to do in the spring, that's going to be impact. But I'm comfortable we're in a good enough spot financially that we can weather some down years. So,
Great, thank you. They also referenced to this. It was interesting that did you know that schools get more money now per student than ever before? So then again, you go to where is this money going? Who is it going to, or what is it going to?
well, and the cost of living, we're definitely getting more money this year than we've ever gotten. If you look back 30 years ago, I could probably come up with a list of 85 things that we're telling teachers now they have to do that they didn't have to do 35 years ago. Same for administrators and everyone.
That was part of that overall conversation they had when they stated that. I mean,
Yeah.
though we're getting more money per student than we've ever gotten in the history, it's the expense is also way more, and that inflation rate isn't level.
And they did also talk about how teachers, educators had one hat. Now they have many, many, many hats. And I'm just gonna leave that statement there. I don't like it, but I'm gonna leave it there. That's it for me.
So, I'll be quick, but one of the things that, I took away from the conference, because in a lot of the sessions we sat through, we got to listen to, a lot of the school districts in our area, Springfield, Eugene, Sayuslaw. I watched Sayuslaw board members come to tears when they talked about what their foreseeable future looks like. And I mean, I felt good about where we're at, even though we're not in a great time. I mean, I felt like sitting there, I kind of felt bad for everybody else. You know, this shift in our grade schools is the biggest thing we have to look at. We're not like, I think it was Bethel and shutting down a whole nother school. I mean, the next day. So, I mean, no, things aren't all sunshine and roses. I felt like from all the school districts and as they reported to us in these sessions, I felt like we were sitting better than most. So. All right. Board stipends, we need to take board action on the discussion we had in the work session. So does anybody have a motion to make?
I move that at this time, that we do not approve the stipends.
Actually, I think the motion would be to not move forward with, I guess it doesn't matter, does it? Yeah, perfect. We'll
Not
take it.
move forward with work. I second it.
Discussion? Mark? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Can I say something, please? What I did want to say is, and this is actually to the community, is thank you very much for the responses that we got back in regards to stipends. That's what I want to say.
Now we get the second reading of the proposed policy update board action is required on this.
Yeah, this was just one to clarify kind of what we did. We adjusted the language in the first reading last month. I changed it to, I think, clearly reflect what the process has been if it wasn't clear before.
I would like to make a motion to approve the proposed policy update.
Well, second.
Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Here are no.
License hiring this month, not at this time, no, nothing in personnel. So late items, adding it to the end of the agenda, we'll hold over from the work session. Back to the superintendent evaluation process. Probably something we should have done during the recruit time, not in the middle of the cycle. But. So I think this is something we need to kind of work through. He's gonna hand out some paperwork. One stack is what we've done what the school board has done in the past. Thank you. The other one is what was done last year, keeping in mind that last year, the board hired OSBA to assist in the process. And that's something you'd have to do every year. We'd have to hire him again to help us again this year or next year. I personally think we should take after looking through all of it, I think we should take my suggestion would be to take a combination of the two. I like the evaluation process the board has used in previous years. But I also think just getting this isn't enough. I did like how when OSBA did it, they sent out emails and compiled the information. We wouldn't have somebody to compile that for us. It would be us that did it. But I think somehow we have to, in order to fill this out, if we use this, we have to gain the knowledge to fill this out. Whether that's email or having staff or teachers come report to us during a work session, or to gather some sort of emails so that we can all read, so that you can fill this out, be informed to fill this out. So, I mean, I put, I'm hoping for some input from everybody on what you guys think that would look like.
Yeah, I don't know if they're speaking of frame of reference to gauge anything yet, you know, I just really don't, you know.
So what they did with the OSBA, is they sent, was it 40 emails?
I gave them 80 emails. So I selected who they were.
Right.
Trying to be diverse from just people that I engaged with, so it wasn't some just, you know, random person giving me that throw a dart. So I did I did union association heads because I work with them a lot. I did building reps because they're kind of in the loop. I did somebody from PTAs and booster clubs, budget committee members, old school board members. Anyway, so 40 staff and then 40 community or partners. So partners like the city manager, I think I had his name on the list, or so I sent 8 emails, and that was, I never saw the data. The school board, I think, had a conversation with Kristen and kind of summarized that. And then the board, well, so in regards to the survey stuff, I assume they used that in writing their statement that they gave me on my evaluation. But yeah, I gave Kristen the 8 emails. She sent out the stuff to those 80 people. I have no knowledge if 2 responded or 79. And then she shared whatever that data was from the school board.
And we didn't have any knowledge of it.
My suggestion, just trying to get us started going somewhere, is I don't know if we do 80, but if we did 40, 20, and 20, we received the emails, we read through them, we discussed them in executive session, so that when it comes time to fill this out, you felt like you did have a frame of reference.
Yeah.
I think is probably a decent route. When I
What
was
you'll want to do, I think, and something that could be good, you'll want to, if you want to get true thoughts from people, though, you need to do it in some way that they can submit it to you anonymously.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm thinking with 20, when I was thinking this through to 20, like, if we do 20 and 20, obviously, we come up with some kind of process where we pick half of them and the superintendent picks half of them. I mean, we can't pick name by name, but say we decide we want, if we're gonna do 20 to staff, example, 10 of the staff have to be building administrators, or 10 of them have to be the janitor. I don't.
10 years or longer here.
Yeah, something that gives them a criteria to go off of. So every year we're not going, I want Miss Marshall, I mean, because that just seems too clunky.
If you wanted to go that route, I wanted to suggest you pick a number, say that you're gonna send it to 20, maybe I send you 50 names. And the board just in executive sessions decide who's the surveys or something.
Yeah. That's a good suggestion. I like that.
I don't want to burden anyone. I'm kind of a small government guy anyway. I don't want to burden more people with having to compile more information for everybody. The more amount of people that we talk to, the better it is. You know, I just, the higher the number, the better, but I don't want to bog anybody down with any menial stuff.
Do you think 40 people in the?
Yeah, I mean, the more the better, I think, but it's just my opinion.
We could definitely do more. I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
So even though I like the idea of us looking over those and really getting a feel for them, the other thing too is that we can always create a committee.
You can, and I thought about that, but with a committee, in my opinion, is you're asking, let's say, 6 people to read through all that, and then we're gonna get their opinion back on how we're evaluating the superintendent. It's our job to evaluate the superintendent, not a committee's job.
We are the committee that.
Yeah, we are, exactly, we are the committee. I mean, it's gonna be time consuming. We're gonna be sitting in a long executive session, reading through a ton of emails and doing it, but I mean.
Well, I mean, it can all get sent to us privately, right? We can read it on our own time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think probably the way to do that, I'll ask OSBA, but Bree, manage it, right? So she could create some kind of survey. I could give you the names. You could select which of those names you want. Bree is the one managing the survey, collecting all the data, summarizing it 2 weeks before that meeting. She's sending it all to you, whatever.
If we decide we want help from OSBA, do we have money for that?
Yeah,
I thought about that too, but I don't wanna be reliant on that every year for the next 20 years. I mean, I think this board should come up with a good evaluation process that hopefully can be carried forth for many years to come. I mean, I guess as a takeaway from OSBA, I mean, at the conference, one of our priorities should be that.
the hard part you're gonna need to come up with is what is in the survey that they give.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's really, they have these vetted metric questions that have data behind the programs of them. If you guys are creating that survey, that's gonna take some work on your part.
My question, I was gonna call Kristen, or just email her, was can we pay her to develop those questions and then give them to us?
We asked.
Yeah, I asked her.
You know what? I actually don't think that would be necessary because we have this prior and we had this was older, this is a newer. So we have two, and there are many, many examples on the website on superintendent evaluations. So I
You can
think
research to find some, what I'm saying is OSBA able to use their survey.
We can't just steal them from last year.
and I'm fine with these.
Yeah, does anybody have questions? Cause it'd be nice to stay.
So,
You have them right? Sweet.
what did you say? I'll memorize all of them.
She got them all. Anyways, I don't know if this is something we can get to the bottom of tonight, but I mean, I think between tonight and next month, we need to.
I mean, some kind of a combination of these,
Yeah, that's
you know,
what
reading some emails and get some, I think it's all a little strange, you know, it's like. Ron Gary and everything, you know, it's like talking about scolding your kid with them sitting in the room, you know, it's a weird deal. I don't wanna make anything. It's a little strange, the whole process is a little bit strange to me anyway. I'd rather just kind of read through some emails, maybe in private and gather our own.
Well, in the executive session, when we'd be discussing it, which I think we'd all have to at some point, because at some point we all have to come to. At the end, we have to come to some kind of group, you know. Decision, consensus, but in that executive session, Mr. Carpenter wouldn't necessarily be there. Cause you're right, that is a little awkward to read through everything with him sitting there.
And I would suggest, you know, you select person X to send this to. You're sending them a survey, it's not an open-ended.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So who creates the survey?
Well, that's the thing, last year OSBA users, I asked, hey, can we just use that again? She said, no, you gotta, they want you to go through the planning and their structure, 3 meetings and come. Because it dilutes the validity of, I'll forward you the email.
You'd have to read the survey, and Lisa would have to read the survey. I mean, around the room, I mean, everybody would have to read it.
I think your probably best bet would be somebody say they're gonna take a lead on it and go, I'm gonna come up with what I think are 20 questions off of Chat GPT.
Right.
And see if, you know, whatever, come up with potential ones that, you know, you all agree to, and then just make that the survey. That's
Yeah.
It's probably not gonna be perfect, but you can refine it over the years if that's the.
Yeah, so when and how do we do that? Can we do all that just through email over the course of the next couple of weeks or something, or like?
I think. Just be careful on email, communicating with all of you. The suggestion I would give is, one of you take a lead off and say, that's my homework, you know, I'm gonna do that. Then you share it with the board. It can just be a handout. These are the questions we're considering. I think it's fine to discuss in public session. What do we need to worry about? Like we're sharing information?
yes.
We can't all email each other in an email train outside of here.
Yeah, this is where you have discussions.
Can't be more than 2 people.
Yeah, well, you to a board chair is fine. You, Lisa and Mark on one email is not appropriate.
has to be recorded and documented for public. They call it a serial meeting.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what makes it difficult to have these conversations.
If you want, I mean, it'd take me some time, but if you wanted, I could do some research, talk to their superintendents. They might even have questions that they know that's on their survey and send you a list and. you can choose from that.
That would be.
I have my secretaries that can say, hey, can you send me your template for superintendent?
I don't wanna make it a thing to make it a thing, you know what I mean? It's like everything we do here has to be. This big long drawn out deal would be cool.
It's fine, you know, because obviously we're 5.5 months or whatever into this year. But I think it's more important that you get, okay, everybody's bought into this, and then comes July 1, okay, that's what we're doing next year.
Yeah, I don't see this as being useful this year at all. It's too late. Like, it is what it is, but I think we need to develop something to use in the future.
Yeah.
So I think it's worth our time this year to go through the process.
So, one thing I did put together, and I just want. This is the website for OSBA. If you go onto Google, this is the address. It will have the OSBA superintendent evaluation workbook on the computer. Okay, so that's something that everybody can look at. This is something I didn't put this together, but this is just something I got. So you can actually see a piece of paper on what are the things that we should be doing.
Okay, I'll work on the question piece, the survey piece, and give a list certainly before the next board meeting too.
I appreciate that. Seems like everything we do creates work for somebody else to do. It's just, I don't know how else to go about it.
Yeah, I wish we didn't have to put that on you, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just, that's what I don't like about the whole process, Paul, is it's like everything we do or decide, it's putting work on review or another administrator, I just don't.
You can email you, right?
So,
Yeah, I know, it's just, there's a lot.
That's kind of the nature of the board, though.
No, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we're here to do.
Bree's got all day tomorrow.
Well, then tomorrow, well, there's always a Saturday and Sunday. Right?
Excited for tomorrow.
Anyway, all right, I mean, we can finish this discussion in next month's work session, if we want to add this next month's work session. And then,
It's more complex.
yeah, and try to get further along with it. Agreed?
Yep.
Word. Anybody got any upcoming events? They'd like to just tell us about?
Upcoming events or
Events you've been to, or, I mean, not OSBA, we covered that, but anything else?
Yes, people are not.
Is people?
oh my goodness. Soccer, and then right into volleyball. This would be for the elementary age.
Lots of sports.
Yes.
All right. Well, that'll conclude the regular session. And we'll move into executive session.
I don't have over.
And say what.
Go while you can, it's really fun.
Okay, but
Yeah, well, you-
the board,
You guys-
hold on, guys. The board will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6602I to review and evaluate the performance of the chief executive officer or any other public officer, employee, or staff member, unless the person whose performance is being reviewed and evaluated requested in an open hearing. All members of the public and non-essential staff are asked to leave. Representatives of the news media are permitted to stay, but are directed not to report on deliberations through the general subject of the session. General subject of the session may be stated. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thanks, Patty.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry. We will now return to our regular agenda and adjourn. We'll return to the regular agenda. And with no further business, we will adjourn.
All right, have a good rest of the week.
I wish I would already do.
Huh?
Really wish I would have Richmond.
Oh, I had high hopes on them this year.
And do every year. It's ridiculous.
I was just looking at the